Welcome to The Explainer. Let's jump right into the action. It's September 9th, 1965. Picture this. Fighter pilot James Stockdale is flying his A-4 jet, screaming through the sky at 500 knots, literally at treetop level over North Vietnam. And suddenly, boom, his plane is hit. It's on fire, the controls are completely shot out, and he has absolutely no choice but to eject.
Now, as he's floating down in his parachute, he actually whispers this absolutely killer quote to himself. He says, "I'm leaving the world of technology and entering the world of Epictetus." He knew for a fact he was dropping straight into a brutal POW camp. And in that split second, he realized he was going to have to rely entirely on the ancient Stoic philosophy he'd studied back at Stanford just to survive the years ahead.
So how did he do it? Today, we're mapping out 5 key ideas to build that exact kind of real-world mental toughness. We're going to cover: control what you can, own your feelings, ignore the outside noise, play your part well, and protect your inner self. You know, the Stoic teacher Epictetus always told his students that the philosopher's classroom is a hospital, meaning you shouldn't walk out feeling all warm and fuzzy. You should actually walk out feeling a bit of pain, because you're there to fix real, deep problems. Philosophy isn't just idle babbling, right? And Stockdale took this completely to heart. He literally treated his brutal prison camp as a laboratory to actually test human behavior and Stoic principles under extreme pressure. All right, let's move to our first major idea: control what you can. This is really the absolute bedrock of all Stoic thinking.
Think of your life as 2 completely separate buckets. On one side, you've got things entirely in your control: your opinions, your aims, your attitude, your own joy, and your judgments. But on the other side, things that are totally out of your control. We're talking your station in life, your health, what other people think of you, and your wealth. Stockdale realized pretty quickly that coveting those external things, the stuff on the right, just dooms you to a life of fear and anxiety.
Lying there on rotting prison straw, he learned a crucial lesson. He said, work with what you have control of and you'll have your hands full. It's so true, isn't it? The line separating good and evil doesn't run between political parties or nations. It runs right smack through the middle of every human heart. You've got to focus entirely on your own inner choices, because ultimately, that's where true good and evil actually live. That brings us to idea number 2. Own your own feelings. Total, unflinching responsibility for your emotions. Check out this raw, incredibly powerful chant. Stockdale would literally whisper this to himself: control fear, control guilt. Control fear, control guilt. He'd say this on repeat while being marched at gunpoint to intense daily interrogations. His captors wanted to use shame and guilt as weapons against him, and Stockdale knew, without a doubt, he had to lock those feelings down immediately. So how do you actually do that in real life? Well, here are the practical steps he used. Step 1, accept that emotions don't just magically happen to you. They are acts of your own will. You start them, and you can stop them. Step 2 is honestly fascinating. Stockdale came up with a trick to obscure the fear in his eyes. He would deflect his gaze right to the interrogator's left earlobe. It kept him from getting beaten for looking away, but it hid his internal struggle. And step 3, deny the enemy any opening for shame. You and only you are in charge of you. Let's dive right into the third point: ignore the outside noise. I absolutely love this concept. Imagine you have a box marked matters of indifference. That is exactly where you need to throw your reputation, your material wealth, your physical health, and your station in life. If you spend your time coveting these things, you end up setting up compromises and basically making yourself a slave to whoever controls them. 30 seconds. That is exactly how long it took for Stockdale to plummet from being a high-status wing commander in charge of over 100 pilots to a crippled, completely helpless captive landing in a village street. It really exposes the ultimate fragility of our station in life, doesn't it? It's just not up to you, so you have to treat it with total indifference. Moving on to point number 4, play your part well. Epictetus used this amazing metaphor. He said life is like a play. You don't choose if you're cast as a rich person, a poor person, a cripple, or a prisoner. The author of the play chooses that for you. Your only job, literally your only business, is to perform the role you are given brilliantly. Stockdale was unexpectedly cast as the senior commanding officer in a POW camp, flat on his back with a broken leg, and he decided right then and there he was going to play that part to the absolute best of his ability. So how did he act his part? He threw the standard government playbook right out the window and established his own clandestine rules for his men, an acronym called BACUS. It stood for Don't Bow in Public, Stay Off the Air, Admit No Crimes, Never Kiss Him Goodbye,
and unity over self. He created rules that actually held up in the torture room, forcing his men to stay united, stand aloof, and proudly claim their human dignity.
Finally, we arrive at our fifth and deeply important idea: protect your inner self.
Epictetus taught a really fascinating definition of what he called stoic harm. You see, real harm isn't what someone does to your physical body. No way. Real harm is internal self-betrayal. It's destroying the trustworthy, self-respecting person inside of you.
In the incredibly harsh reality of the camp, Stockdale had this major realization. A repeatedly broken leg or being tied up in heavy torture robes, that's absolute peanuts compared to the soul-crushing weight of self-betrayal. The thing that actually breaks a person isn't physical pain, it's shame.
There's this amazing story. After a brutal, near-death stint in solitary confinement, Stockdale was secretly slipped a piece of rat-soiled paper by a fellow prisoner named Dave Hatcher. Written on it, literally with a rat dropping, was the last verse of the poem Invictus. I am the master of my fate, I am the captain of my soul. It just perfectly captured their incredible stoic victory. They couldn't control their environment at all, but they absolutely, 100%, owned their minds.
So I want to wrap up this explainer by leaving you with a provocative question to chew on. Think about this for a second. If you lost your station in life today, your job, your status, your wealth, the whole shebang, who is the master of your mind? Are you a slave to external things, or are you the captain of your own soul? Keep that in mind as you face whatever challenges come your way this week. Thanks for joining me, and I'll catch you on the next one.